My beloved child, I told you your day would come, and now you are standing within it. This is not a thought, not a feeling, not a coincidence. This is the moment I spoke over you long ago. The moment you once doubted would ever arrive. The moment you nearly stopped believing in. Yet here you are. I am speaking to you now because the time has aligned, and what I promised has reached its appointed hour. You are not hearing these words by accident. You are here because what you carried, what you endured, and what you survived has led you directly to this point. I am interrupting you now because this is the exact moment you needed to be stopped before you moved forward, unaware of what I am about to release. Do not rush past this. Do not treat this like another sound among many. I am speaking with precision, not delay, not early, not late, but perfectly aligned. Heaven to that rush, and heaven to that miss. Every second before now was preparation. Every delay shaped you. Every closed door redirected you. If this message had reached you sooner, you would not have understood it. If it had reached you later, you would have already walked past what I was preparing to give you. This moment is a balance between what you were and what you are becoming. And that is why I am speaking now. I need you to know something deeply and clearly. This message was prepared long before you arrived here, before you searched, before you waited, before you felt forgotten. I wrote this moment into your journey when you were still praying prayers you thought went unheard. I mark this day when you were still crying in silence, still pushing through disappointment, still trying to believe while everything around you said to give up. Nothing about this is random. Every step, every pause, every pain aligned to bring you here at this exact time. Open this today, without hesitation. Do not delay the way you have delayed before. Do not tell yourself you will return later. Later is not promised, and later is not obedience. I am not asking you to understand everything. I am asking you to trust the time and you are standing in right now. There are moments that carry weight, and this is one of them. What is unfolding cannot wait for your comfort or certainty. It responds to your willingness. This message is not meant for many. It is not meant for the crowd. It is meant for the one who stayed, the one who is still listening, the one who felt the pull to leave but chose to remain. Others will pass this by and feel nothing. Others will hear these words and move on, change it. But you are still here, because something in your spirit recognizes my voice. I am speaking to you personally, intentionally, and directly. This is not a general call. This is a private moment between you and me. I know how long you have waited. I know the nights you questioned whether anything would ever change. I know the days you felt stuck while others moved forward. I know the disappointment that settled quietly in your heart. When answers did not come, when doors did not open, when silence felt heavier than noise. I saw the prayers you stopped speaking out loud because you were tired of hoping. I heard the ones you whispered when no one else could hear. I have not forgotten a single one. Nothing was wasted. Not your tears, not your patience, not your endurance, not the seasons you thought were meaningless. Every delay carried purpose. Every closed door protected you. Every painful pause was shaping you for what you could not yet see. I did not forget you. I did not overlook you. I was arranging what needed to be in place so that when this moment came, it would not destroy you but deliver you. Hear me carefully now. This moment is time-sensitive. Hesitation has consequences, not because I am harsh, but because opportunity moves. What is unfolding requires attention, presence, and response. If you turn away again, if you scroll past this, if you silence this moment like you have silenced others, you may miss what is opening right now. Some things do not announce themselves loudly. Some doors open quietly and close without warning. I do not say this to frighten you. I say this to awaken you. Look back and see how everything aligned. The delays felt cruel. The pain that felt unnecessary. The endings that broke you. The detours that confuse you. None of it was random. I was weaving something larger than you could understand at the time. I was protecting you from paths that would have drained you. I was removing people who could not go where you are going. I was strengthening you in ways comfort never could. Every piece was placed so that when this moment arrived, you would be able to stand inside it. Common Jesus, I'm nothing without you. If He is your only foundation, if you are hearing this now, it is because you survived what should have ended you. There were moments you were not supposed to make it through. Times you were close to giving up. Seasons that pressed you harder than you thought you could endure. Yet you are still here. That is not luck. That is grace. That is the purpose. That is my hand holding you when you did not even know how to pray anymore. Stay with me. Do not leave. Do not rush. Do not let distractions steal what I am giving you now. Remain present. Listen with your heart, not just your ears. I am drawing you closer because what comes next requires clarity, not confusion. You are about to receive confirmation for things you have questioned for a long time. You are about to feel peace where there has been tension. You are about to understand why the waiting was necessary. I am not finished speaking to you. This is only the beginning of what I want to reveal. But you must stay. You must receive. You must allow this moment to do what it was sent to do. Do not scroll away. Do not delay. Do not tell yourself this is not for you. You are here because this is your appointed moment, and I am speaking to you now. There were moments when you stopped believing this day would ever come. I saw it happen slowly, not all at once, but little by little. Hope did not disappear suddenly. It faded quietly as time passed and nothing seemed to change. You kept going. You kept functioning. You kept smiling when needed. But deep inside you wondered if the things you once cried to me for had been forgotten. You told yourself you were being realistic, that you were just learning to accept life as it was. But I knew the truth. It was not accepted. It was weariness. It was the tiredness that comes from waiting too long, without answers, from praying and hearing only silence, from believing and seeing no visible movement. I remember the days when your faith was louder, when you spoke to me with expectation instead of caution. You once believed a change was close. You once felt certain that something good was about to happen. But as days turned into months and months into years, the certainty weakened. You watched others receive what you were still asking for. You saw doors open for them while yours remained closed. You began to tell yourself that maybe this was just how life would be for you. Maybe this was all there was. I heard those thoughts even when you did not say them out loud. There were moments when you told yourself nothing is ever going to change. Moments when you adjusted your dreams so they would hurt less. Moments when you stopped asking me boldly and started praying carefully, as if you did not want to be disappointed again. I saw you lower your expectations not because you lacked faith, but because your heart had grown tired of hoping. You did not stop believing in me, but you stopped believing for yourself. And I want you to know this now. I never judge you for that. I never turned away from you in those moments. I stayed close even when you felt far from hope. The day felt delayed because you could not see what I was doing beyond what your eyes could measure. You measured time by clocks and calendars. I measured it by growth, readiness, and protection. You thought nothing was happening because nothing was changing on the surface. But beneath what you could see, I was working carefully, patiently, and intentionally. I was holding back things that would have crushed you if they arrived too soon. I was removing paths that looked good, but would have led you away from who you were meant to become. I was preparing you in ways you never could. You thought the delay meant denial. It did not. You thought the silence meant absence. It did not. You thought the waiting meant I had moved on to others. I had not. I was shaping you quietly, strengthening you slowly, teaching you endurance without letting you break. Some lessons cannot be rushed. Some blessings cannot be received by an unprepared heart. I delayed not to punish you, but to protect you. I delayed not to withhold love, but to deepen it. There were times you questioned me. Times you wondered if you had missed your moment. Times you feared that the window had closed. I heard every question. I felt every ache. I saw how disappointment settled into your spirit, like a heavy weight you learned to carry. You kept moving forward, but joy felt distant. Hope felt risky. Believing felt exhausting. Still, you did not walk away completely. Even in your doubt, you stayed connected. Even in your fatigue, you did not stop reaching for me. Even if it was with trembling hands. Please support our channel. Our work is to bring happiness and devotion to God into your life. If you wish, you can kindly show your support by donating through Super Thanks. This is the day you once cried for. This is the moment you asked me for when you were alone and unsure anyone was listening. This is the answer that began forming long before you were ready to receive it. I did not forget the prayers you whispered through tears. I did not overlook the nights you went to sleep disappointed. I did not ignore the moments you felt overlooked, delayed, or left behind. I remembered all of it. I carried all of it. And now I am telling you clearly, so your heart can hear it again. This day is real, and it is here. You could not see it coming because you had learned not to expect it anymore. You unguarded your heart because hope had heard you before. But I did not forget how to surprise you. I did not forget how to fulfill what I promised. I allowed the waiting to stretch you, not to break you. I allowed the silence to deepen you, not to abandon you. I allowed time to pass so that when this day arrived, you would recognize it, not by noise, but by peace. What felt like a delay was alignment. What felt like loss was pruning. What felt like stillness was preparation. You were becoming someone stronger than you realize, someone capable of carrying what you once desired without being consumed by it. If this day had come earlier, it would have overwhelmed you. If it had come later, you would have stopped believing altogether. That is why it is now. That is why I am speaking to you now. Let your heart remember the version of you that once begged me for this moment. Let that memory rise not to bring pain but to bring understanding. You are no longer who you were back then. You have grown. You have endured. You have learned to trust me even when answers were slow. And because of that, you are standing inside the very day you thought would never arrive. Do not rush past this realization. Let it settle. Let it heal the disappointment you carried. Let it restore the hope you buried to survive. This is not a coincidence. This is fulfillment. This is the day you cried for. And I have brought you here not to tease you, but to remind you that my timing does not fail, even when it feels long. I am here with you now, and what comes next will make the waiting make sense. While you were wondering why life felt so quiet, so slow, so hidden, I was working deeply within you where no one else could see. You thought nothing was happening because there was no applause, no visible movement, no clear sign that progress was being made. But my work with you was never meant to be public at first. Some preparation must happen in secret, so that when the time comes, it cannot be taken from you. I was shaping you in places words cannot reach, strengthening parts of you that will one day need to carry weight without breaking. The pain you walked through was not meaningless. Every ache, every disappointment, every unanswered question served a purpose greater than you understood at the time. Ping taught you discernment and taught you compassion. It taught you how to listen instead of rushing, how to feel without becoming bitter, how to endure without losing your heart. I did not cause your pain, but I used it. I turned what could have destroyed you into something that refined you. You learned how to survive storms without losing your faith. Even when your emotions were exhausted, there were seasons when you felt isolated, when it seemed like no one truly understood you or could walk beside you in what you were facing. You questioned why others faded away. My support disappeared. My conversations grew shallow when you needed depth. That isolation was not abandonment. It was protection. There were parts of your journey that required silence so you could hear me clearly. There were lessons that could not be learned. While too many voices surrounded you, I removed distractions so you could grow roots, not just branches. Waiting became your classroom, and waiting, you learned patience. When you wanted speed, you learned trust. When you wanted control, you learned how to sit with uncertainty without running from me. Waiting stripped away your dependence on outcomes and built your dependence on my presence. It taught you how to remain steady, even when answers did not come quickly. That kind of strength cannot be learned in comfort. It is learned in stillness and surrender. Rejection was not a sign that you were unwanted. It was a sign that certain doors were not meant to shape you. Every time you were overlooked, every time you were misunderstood, every time you were pushed aside, I was redirecting you away from places that could not hold who you were becoming. Some spaces could not contain your growth. Some relationships could not survive your transformation. I allowed separation so you would not shrink yourself to be accepted where you no longer belong. You wondered why others could not walk with you through these seasons. It hurts to feel alone. It hurts to feel unseen. But not everyone is assigned to every chapter of your life. Some people are meant to start with you, but not finish with you. Others are meant to encourage you briefly and then step aside. This was not a rejection of you. It was an alignment for you. I was protecting both you and them from carrying burdens that were not meant for them to carry. I was teaching you how to stand without leaning too heavily on human approval. I was showing you how to hear my voice clearly without constant confirmation from others. I was building a quiet confidence in you, one that does not need validation to remain steady. You learned how to be faithful even when no one was watching, how to remain kind when you are misunderstood, how to stay humble while growing stronger. Everything was intentional. Nothing was wasted. The nights you cried alone strengthened your compassion. The days you felt overlooked sharpened your awareness. The seasons you felt hidden built your character. I was preparing you for moments where you would need clarity, not confusion, courage, not fear, faith, not impulse. What I'm bringing you into requires depth, and depth is formed slowly. You may not have realized it then, but you were becoming someone who could carry peace in chaos, wisdom in pressure, and love in difficulty. You are learning restraint, discernment, and patience. These qualities do not arrive suddenly. They are formed through repeated choices to trust me when understanding is limited. You chose to stay soft when hardness would have been easier. You chose to keep believing when disappointment tempted you to withdraw. I know there were times you felt forgotten, times you wondered if your obedience mattered, times you questioned whether your faithfulness was seen. I want you to hear this clearly now. I saw everything. I measured every sacrifice. I recorded every tear. Preparation is not always loud. Often it is quiet and unseen, but it is powerful. What is built in secret cannot be easily shaken in public. Right, Lord, breathe new life into me, if you're longing for His renewal. The isolation refined your focus. The waiting strengthened your endurance. The rejection clarified your direction. All of it worked together to prepare you for what you are stepping into now. You are stronger than you were, wiser than you were, more grounded than you were, and most importantly, more connected to me than you were before. That connection is what will sustain you in what comes next. I did not delay your growth, I protected it. I did not remove you from visibility without reason. I was anchoring you. You were learning how to remain faithful without reward, how to serve without recognition, how to trust without evidence. These lessons form a foundation that will not collapse when pressure comes. Now you can see more clearly why the path was narrow, why the seasons were quiet, why the progress felt slow. I was preparing you for something that requires stability, humility, and trust. I was shaping you not just for what you want, but for what you can now handle. You are not behind. You were being prepared. You were not overlooked. You were being refined. And now, as you step forward, you will recognize that what once felt like delay was actually love working patiently, carefully, and intentionally in your life. While you were looking around, wondering why your life felt hidden, quiet, and unseen, I was preparing you in ways that could not be rushed and could not be explained at the time. You measured progress by visible change, by movement you could point to, by signs others could notice. But I was working beneath the surface where roots grow, where strength forms, where character is shaped away from applause. What I was building in you required privacy. If it had been exposed too early, it would have been damaged by pressure, opinions, and expectations you were not meant to carry. The pain you endured was not random. I know how deeply it cuts you. I know how it made you question yourself, your worth, and sometimes even my nearness. Pain became part of your training because it taught you how to lean into me instead of leaning only on understanding. It stripped away illusions and forced you to see what truly mattered. Through pain, you learned empathy. You learned patience. You learned how to remain gentle, even when life was not gentle with you. A kind of strength cannot be taught through ease. Isolation was another place of preparation. There were seasons when you felt alone even when people were around you. Conversations felt shallow, connections felt distant. You wondered why you could not fully explain what you were going through, or why others seemed unable to walk with you in the depth. I allowed that isolation so your attention would not be divided. I needed you to hear my voice clearly, without too many competing sounds. I needed you to learn how to sit with me, how to listen, how to trust my presence even when it felt quiet. Waiting was not wasted time. Waiting was training your spirit. In waiting, you learned restraint. You learned how to pause instead of rushing ahead of me. You learned how to trust without seeing results immediately. Waiting taught you how to surrender control, how to breathe through uncertainty, how to remain faithful when answers were slow. You thought waiting meant stagnation, but waiting was strengthening you in ways movement never could. It was teaching you how to remain steady instead of reactive. Rejection was one of the hardest lessons, and I know how deeply it hurt. Being overlooked, misunderstood, or pushed aside made you question your value. But rejection was never about your worth. It was about direction. Every time you were not chosen, every time a door closed unexpectedly, I was guiding you away from spaces that could not sustain who you were becoming. Some environments could not support your growth. Some relationships would have required you to shrink yourself to remain accepted. I remove you not to win you, but to protect you. You asked why others could not walk with you through these seasons. The truth is, not everyone is assigned to every part of your journey. Some people are meant to encourage you briefly, others are meant to challenge you, and some are meant to step away when the path becomes narrow. I did not remove them because they were bad, but because their role ended. There were things I needed to teach you that could only be learned without leaning on others for reassurance. I was teaching you independence without isolation, strength without hardness, confidence without pride. I was showing you how to stand without constant validation. I was helping you learn how to trust my voice, even when it was not echoed by people around you. You are learning discernment. You are learning when to speak and when to remain silent. You are learning how to move with wisdom instead of impulse. Everything was intentional. The quiet seasons were intentional. The slow progress was intentional. The moments you felt unseen were intentional. I was preparing you for something that requires depth, humility, and stability. What I am bringing you into cannot be carried by someone who still needs approval to feel secure or comfort to feel confident. I was shaping you into someone who could carry responsibility without losing peace, who could walk through pressure without becoming bitter. You may not have realized it at the time, but you were becoming stronger on the inside. You were learning how to regulate your emotions, how to respond instead of react, how to stay grounded when circumstances shifted. These lessons are not glamorous, but they are essential. I am the foundation for what comes next. Without them, what you desire would have overwhelmed you instead of blessing you. I saw the nights you questioned whether this hidden life mattered. I saw you wonder if your faithfulness was invisible. I saw you wrestle with doubt and disappointment while still choosing to keep going. Every quiet act of obedience mattered. Every time you chose kindness when you were hurt mattered. Every time you chose patience instead of bitterness mattered. Nothing was lost. Nothing was ignored. I was building endurance in you. Endurance allows you to keep going when excitement fades. Endurance keeps you steady when emotions fluctuate. Endurance carries you through seasons where motivation alone is not enough. That endurance will serve you well where I am leading you. You will need it to remain consistent, to stay faithful, and to continue trusting me when new challenges arise. The preparation you went through was not meant to break you. It was meant to anchor you. It was meant to deepen your relationship with me so that your confidence would rest in my presence instead of circumstances. You learned how to pray honestly, how to sit with silence, how to trust my character even when answers were delayed. Now you can look back and see that the isolation refined your focus, the weighing strengthened your faith, the rejection clarified your path, and the pain softened your heart instead of hardening it. These were not accidents, they were steps. They were layers of preparation shaping you into someone who can receive what I am about to place in your hands. You are not behind. You were being trained. You were not forgotten. You were being prepared. And now, as you move forward, you will recognize that the hidden seasons were not empty. They were full of purpose, full of growth, and full of my presence working quietly, faithfully, and intentionally within you. This message arrived right now because time as you understand it is not the same as time as I govern it. You count days and weeks. I measure readiness, alignment, and protection. You often think something is late when it is actually being guarded. You believe something should have come sooner because the desire was strong, the need was real, and the pain was heavy. But desire alone does not determine timing. Need alone does not open doors. I release things when they can bless you instead of burden you, when they can build you instead of breaking you, when they can stay instead of slipping through your hands. This message could not have come earlier, no matter how much you wanted it to. If this message confirmed what your heart has been sensing, don't let it end here. Respond with faith, leave a comment, even a simple Amen, to receive what has reached its appointed time. Click like this word can reach someone else who is still waiting for their moment, and subscribe if you want to remain where my voice is speaking. Stand firm, stay open, and trust this truth. What I promised has arrived, and I will walk with you as it unfolds.